In order to protect registrants and other users of the Internet and to maintain a fair and competitive domain name marketplace, ICANN's contractual compliance team must ensure that all registrars and registries adhere to the obligations set forth in their respective agreements, including incorporated consensus policies. With regard to registrar obligations, the compliance team focuses on compliance with the RAA, the Registrar Data Escrow Program, WHOIS obligations, ICANN consensus policies such as the Uniform Domain Name Dispute Resolution Policy and the Inter-Registrar Transfer Policy, accreditation fee obligations, and logo license terms. Compliance with these obligations is typically monitored and enforced through handling of complaints received by ICANN from customers and other stakeholders and through the operation of routine audits. ICANN regularly conducts audits related to the Registrar Data Escrow Program, the Inter-Registrar Transfer Policy, and the Uniform Domain Name Dispute Resolution Policy. Let's take a look at the audit provision of the Registrar Accreditation Agreement. ICANN is authorized under Section 3.15 of the RAA to conduct reasonable contractual compliance audits by providing no less than 10 days' notice. The notice from ICANN will specify the type of compliance audit ICANN intends to conduct. Upon receiving such notice, the registrar must 1. Provide the documents and information necessary to demonstrate compliance with the RAA terms in a timely manner, and 2. Permit ICANN to conduct a site visit to assess the registrar's compliance with the RAA obligations. ICANN must conduct any on-site audit in compliance with all applicable laws and may not disclose confidential information gathered through such audits, except as expressly permitted by an ICANN specification or policy. In most cases, ICANN does not request a site visit in conjunction with an audit. Instead, most audits are conducted by email. Registrars are required to perform a self-assessment of their compliance with the RAA at least once per year. In addition, they must complete and deliver a certificate of compliance to ICANN within 20 days following the end of each calendar year. The certificate must be signed by one of the following: Chief Executive Officer, President, Chief Operating Officer, Chief Financial Officer, or an equivalent of the registrar. An example of the required compliance certificate has been published with the RAA. As a courtesy, ICANN sends all registrars a compliance certificate annually, which may be signed electronically. It is ICANN's goal for all registrars to comply with their obligations to ICANN and the greater Internet community under the RAA and relevant consensus policies. In general, if a registrar is found to be in breach of its RAA or an applicable consensus policy, ICANN will provide an opportunity for the registrar to correct or cure the breach before taking escalated enforcement action. If a registrar fails to cure a cited breach following notification, ICANN may terminate the registrar's accreditation agreement and transfer its domain names to another registrar, initiate legal action or arbitration against the registrar, suspend the registrar's ability to create new registrations or initiate inbound transfers of registrations for a period of up to 12 months, and require payment by the registrar of ICANN's costs and expenses, including attorney fees associated with enforcing the RAA. In addition, even if a registrar cures its breach, ICANN may suspend the registrar's ability to create new registrations or initiate inbound transfers of registrations for a period of up to 12 months if the registrar repeatedly and willfully breached one of its fundamental and material obligations at least 3 times in any 12-month period, or in the event of repeated willful material breaches of the agreement, and require the registrar to pay sanctions of up to 5 times ICANN's enforcement costs. This is a short summary of enforcement mechanisms available under the Registrar Accreditation Agreement. Be sure to consult the RAA or your legal counsel if you have specific questions about how these might apply to a particular situation. In addition to the compliance enforcement mechanisms described previously, a group liability provision applies to registrars that share common ownership or control with 2 or more other registrars. In short, it works like this. If one registrar's accreditation agreement is terminated by ICANN for misconduct that materially harmed consumers or the public interest, and then another affiliated registrar pursues the same course of conduct, ICANN may notify any or all affiliated registrars that it will terminate all of their accreditation agreements unless the registrar discontinues the misconduct and cures the breach of its agreement within 15 days.